What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today, we're going to do a mini Dynasty trade review show. We didn't do one this last week on Let's Talk Dynasty, so I figured I would hit a solo version of this with just a few trades, not the full 10 that we usually do, but I just wanted to review some Dynasty trades. I figured you guys might want to hear me review some Dynasty trades, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you go join our free Discord. That is where I am pulling the trades that you are seeing here in today's episode. It is a free Discord, so it's free to join. There is no risk in doing that, but without wasting any more time, let's hop right into today's video and let's start talking about these trades. All right, so as you can see, I got the trade pulled up on the screen. I got 5 trades to get through in today's video. We're going to kick it off with this one here, a 12-team superflex full PPR tight end premium on a contending roster. You got Jamar Chase and a 2026 second being acquired for Garrett Wilson, a 2026 first and a 2027 first. Now, as I'm looking at this trade, this makes a ton of sense. It's quite easily for me going to be the Jamar Chase side. I'll kind of explain a little bit of my thought process here. It is a good haul for somebody who wanted to down tier from Jamar Chase. Now, I think it's sneaky when you're getting that 2026 second round pick thrown in, because really what that does is instead of you gaining the additional first round pick in 2026, which is what I'd like to see, I'd like it to be Garrett Wilson and 2 firsts for Jamar Chase. But when you get that second, it's more so a move down. You move down 1 round in that draft, which really adds some sneaky value to the Jamar Chase side. So this is a pro tip. That's a pro move for somebody who is making that type of deal. Garrett Wilson and 2 firsts. I like the classes in 2026. I like the class in 2027. Those are going to be good first round picks potentially, but Jamar Chase on a contending roster gets no better than him. He is 101 at the wide receiver position, if not 102 if you really want to go the other route. But there are very few wide receivers that I think are actually as good as Jamar Chase. So this is a no-brainer type of move for me if you're going to be a contending roster. Now let's move on to this next trade here. I got this trade from Action. Now he submitted a 12-team superflex full PPR. It's a 1-point tight end premium, a 0.25 points per carry and start 11 type of league. Now he is going to be receiving Jordan Love. He's giving up Derek Carr, the 202, the 106, and the 206. So really the way I'm looking at it is you're giving up a lot of draft capital in this year's draft in that super flex type of format. Now we know that the quarterback class this year isn't the strongest. The way that I'm viewing it currently right now with the information that we have is that there's really only about 2 guys that I am confident will get first round draft capital, and that's not even guaranteed. Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. So if you're looking for a quarterback upgrade, maybe this year's draft class is not the one to do it. Now the additional part of this is at the 106 in a super flex format, you may not even have a chance to draft them. Those guys could be top 5 picks in those rookie drafts come April. So I think that there's a chance that you might just be rolling the dice here. Now Jordan Love, to me, this side, this is what I'm going to be taking in a super flex format in a 12-team type of league. The quarterback position is scarce. It's a down year for Jordan Love. He didn't have the year that we wanted to see out of him. He did take that step back, a little bit of regression. Now I do believe a lot of that regression is due to the injury that he suffered early on in the year, and I think he's playing through a little bit of pain. We also know that this team probably needs an upgrade at the wide receiver position. But when you are giving up a guy like Derek Carr and the 106 and some second round picks, it feels like you're avoiding a lot of the risk when acquiring a player like Jordan Love. So Derek Carr, to me, there's no guarantee that he is the starter for the Saints this year. That's not to say that he won't be a starter for an NFL franchise. I think he will be no matter what. But the 106, you're looking at probably a running back like Trevion Henderson, who to me is coming in right now as my running back 2 early rankings, and then 2 second round picks. Again, we're probably looking at like tight ends, running backs. That's about the depth of the class right there in that second round. So I'm all for the Jordan Love side in this deal, and I think it's a great deal for Action, even considering the fact that this is a full tight end premium and a point per carry, which that is some of the strengths of this running back class. You have the tight ends and the running back. So yeah, give me the Jordan Love side here. Let's move on to the next trade. My next trade is this trade, a 10-team 1 quarterback full PPR non-tight end premium and start 10. Now he let us know, team 1 let us know he has no first round picks, or he had no first round picks before this deal. He receives Jayden Daniels, Malik Nabers, and the 104. He gives up Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Christian Kirk. Now this deal is very, very interesting. Definitely a blockbuster deal. Jayden Daniels and Malik Nabers, 2 of the most prestigious dynasty assets at the moment. They're the most hyped dynasty assets at the moment, and obviously you would love to build around these 2 players for a long time. I am not necessarily sure how you were able to finesse or pull out the 104 in this type of deal, because to me, I think that Daniels, Nabers, and the 104 side does win by by a pretty decent margin. Now I'll explain a little bit of the thought process there. When I'm looking at my startup rankings, I would prefer Jayden Daniels with his rushing upside, especially in a one quarterback league, over a guy like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has been great. Joe Burrow will continue to be great, but he doesn't have the rushing upside, and obviously Jayden Daniels has a little bit of the youth in his favor as well. Malik Nabers, yes, he is not in the tier with Jamar Chase yet. I think he can eventually get there, but even when you're looking at the tier down, going the tier down from Jamar Chase to Malik Nabers, and then having the additional fluff be Christian Kirk in the 104, that gap between those two guys, the 104 and Christian Kirk, it makes up the difference for me. So give me Jayden Daniels, give me Malik Nabers, give me the 104. You can probably find yourself a pretty decent player there with that 104, especially if we see a couple of these running backs get early day 2 draft capital. I love that 104 Malik Nabers and Jayden Daniels side, and that would be the side that I would want. And when it comes overall to team strategy, it feels like that side does give you a lot of flexibility on win now and or build for the future, because you have both options really in these two young studs. And moving on to our next trade here, we're going to go over to another one. Joe Burrow back at it again. We got Burrow in this deal. 12 team super flex full PPR tight end premium 6-point passing touchdowns in this one, and a start 10 league. Now you receive Joe Burrow, you give up Michael Penix, a 2026 second, and DeVonta Smith. Now this is interesting because there's a lot of people who really believe in Michael Penix. DeVonta Smith obviously coming off of a Super Bowl win, very desirable asset I think in fantasy football still. I don't think a lot of people are really out on DeVonta Smith. I still like him as a wide receiver 2 on my fantasy football teams, and that 2026 second, to me it's a decent asset, but it's nothing that's going to hold back the deal if we're really looking at it. Now I like the idea of upgrading to Joe Burrow when all I have to give up is Michael Penix and DeVonta Smith. I think Michael Penix is fine. He's a riser right now. I'm very interested to see how his career ends up going here. I think that there's a chance that maybe he ends up hitting, but we know that Joe Burrow is a smash superstar type of player, and in a 6-point passing touchdown league, Joe Burrow is going to be even more valuable. This is a guy that's coming off of a top 5 fantasy football season. Joe Burrow, to me, yes, that is a win now move, and that does let you upgrade. You lose a little bit of the depth, but at the end of the day, it's probably worth it. I don't think Penix Smith in the second is too large of a trade package where it's just not worth giving up. To me, this is worth giving up. Joe Burrow coming to your team, that definitely feels good. And now let's go to my final trade. I do have one more trade here that we will talk about in today's video. We have this large trade here, 12 team, 1 quarterback, full PPR, tight end premium, and start 10. We got team 1 receiving Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Chase Brown. They give up Saquon Barkley, Rico Dowdle, Zay Flowers, and Tyrone Tracy. Now, when I'm looking at a deal like this where there are a lot of moving pieces, I want to try and break it down as best as possible. So to me, I will try and break this down in a fair enough way that it probably makes enough sense. So I want to start with the big pieces, Garrett Wilson and Saquon Barkley. When we're looking at startup value, overall dynasty value, I think that these guys are fairly close. I would still lean Saquon probably over Garrett Wilson, just barely, but I think that they're close enough. And the difference between them can probably be made back in the difference between Chris Olave and Zay Flowers, in my own personal opinion, in my own rankings. So when we're looking at Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave for Zay Flowers and Saquon Barkley, that feels like a fair enough deal that we can kind of eliminate those pieces out of the deal. I think we can chalk that up as fair. So that breaks down this trade, to me at least, Chase Brown for Tyrone Tracy and Rico Dowdle. Now, obviously, I would much rather have that Chase Brown side. I've talked about Chase Brown potentially being a sell in Dynasty right now. I've talked about Tyrone Tracy potentially being a sell in Dynasty right now, but Chase Brown feels like he should net you a better trade package than Tyrone Tracy and Rico Dowdle. To me, Rico Dowdle, this is a player whose value is pretty much going to evaporate over the course of the next 12 months. I don't think he really has much value at all after the NFL draft, just to be honest, because I believe that they will go get a guy in the NFL draft and or maybe another guy in free agency. There's a chance that Dallas could really just see multiple additions into this running back room, and I don't think Rico Dowdle is really going to be able to survive that. I don't think he's talented enough to survive that. So to me, he's a little bit of a undesirable dead weight at the end of this trade deal that I'm definitely willing to throw in to go get the Chase Brown upgrade. So obviously a little bit because of that is why I'm going to lean the Chris Olave, the Garrett Wilson, and the Chase Brown side. I think you had me in the first half, but it was that second half where it was Chase Brown for Tyrone Tracy and the other parts that I just really didn't care too much about it. So give me the Chase Brown, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave side. And I've been saying it, maybe you can flip Chase Brown and go get another player as well that I would feel a little bit more confident in. But hey, this isn't me to tell you what moves to make. This is me to review your rosters or review your trades. So that's my opinion on that deal. Now, all right, I know it was a little bit of a quick episode. I know it wasn't too long. Hopefully that's still okay. I just wanted to get you guys some extra trade reviews. Like I said, we didn't do one this week. We're not doing one this week. We're doing a coaching carousel over on Let's Talk Dynasty. So I figured let's review just a few of them. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple. And that's what we ended up doing. If you liked today's video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. And last but not least, make sure you guys go join the Discord. We do have that free Discord where I pulled these trades from. So if you want your trades submitted into that Discord for free, like I said, linked in the description, maybe you can have them reviewed on our next episode here in about a week and a half. But all of that being said, I have nothing else for you guys today. So I will see you on our next episode. But until then, peace out.